Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda and I'm from Amanda Crochets, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make the blanket stitch baby blanket. This blanket measures approximately 29 inches across by 35 inches long. You can always change up the colors to match your preference. If you have a baby girl that you are making this blanket for, you can use different shades of pink or purple. You can make a more gender neutral baby blanket if you're not sure of the gender. So there's so many different possibilities that you can use for this baby blanket. I also used a simple border to finish off this blanket, but you can always change up the border or even do away with the border if you do not want to have a border for your blanket. So let's get started on today's tutorial on making the blanket stitch baby blanket. So for today's tutorial, you're going to need 2 skeins of 3 different colors, and the yarn that I'm going to be using today is called Bernat Bundle Up, and this is 267 yards, 244 meters. It's a 4.9 ounce skein or 140 grams, and it is 100% polyester, so it's going to be nice and super soft and very easy to work with as well. And this is classified as a number 4 worsted weight yarn, and the recommended hook size is a US I9 or 5.5 millimeter hook. And it looks like the care instructions are on the back, but it looks like you can machine wash and dry this yarn, which is always nice. And you're going to need 2 skeins of the color Beluga, which is the darker blue color. You're going to need 2 skeins of Marshmallow, which is that very pretty cream color. And finally, 2 skeins of the lighter blue color called Sky Blue. So again, you're going to need 2 skeins of each of these 3 colors, or just the colors of your choice. You're also going to need a size J10 or 6 millimeter crochet hook. I'm bumping up my crochet hook by 1 just because I wanted my blanket to be a little bit more drapey. So let's begin today's tutorial. So I'm going to be starting my blanket with that darker blue color, the Beluga color. And you're just going to go ahead and make a slip knot. And for the blanket stitch, you need to make a chain that is in a multiple of 3. So for my baby blanket, if you want to follow along with that exact pattern, you're going to make a chain of 117. If you wanted to make your blanket smaller or wider, then you would just have a chain that's a multiple of 3. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and so on. I'm just going to be doing a small sample swatch for you today, so I'm just going to be making a chain of 15. Again, if you wanted to make the blanket the same size as mine, then you're going to go ahead and chain 117. So to make a chain, you're going to yarn over your hook and pull through that loop on your hook. The loop on your hook does not count. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Continue until you have a total of 117 chains, or your multiple of 3. Okay, so once you have your multiple of 3 or your chain of 117, we can go ahead and begin row 1. For row 1, we're going to make 2 double crochets into the 3rd chain from your hook. So that loop on your hook does not count. You're going to go ahead and count 3 chains. So 1, 2, and 3. And in that 3rd chain from your hook, you're going to make 2 double crochets. So you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into that 3rd chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And that is your first double crochet. Yarn over your hook and insert your hook back into that same chain space, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is 2 double crochets made. And those skipped chains at the beginning is going to count as your single crochet. So right here is your very first double crochet, and right here on the right hand side is going to be your chain, and you're just going to go ahead and insert a stitch marker right here in the top of that chain, and that's going to help keep your end straight, because that's how you're going to know that's the very first stitch of your row. Next, you're going to skip 2 chains, and you're going to make 1 single crochet and 2 double crochets into the next chain. So go ahead and find that next chain, which is going to be right here. You're going to count 2, 1, and 2, and in the chain after that, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and that is your single crochet. In that same chain space, you're going to make 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. You're going to repeat this all the way down until you have 2 chains remaining. So skip 2 chains, make 1 single crochet and 2 double crochets all into that next chain, and repeat all the way down. So skip the next 2, 1 and 2, and in the chain after that, make a single crochet and 2 double crochets. One and 2. Okay, so we have 1 more repeat to go. You're going to skip 2 chains, 1 and 2, and in the chain after that, you're going to make a single crochet and 2 double crochet. Okay, so you're going to continue that repeat all the way down, and you're going to have 3 chains remaining, not the 2 that I mentioned. You're going to have 3 chains remaining at the end. You're going to skip 2 chains, 1 and 2, and in that very last chain, you're just going to make a single crochet. And then that is what your work is going to look like. For row 2, you're going to go ahead and chain 2, and the chain 2 is going to count as a single crochet. So in the top of that chain 2 space, go ahead and insert your stitch marker in the top of that chain 2. In that very first stitch, we're going to go ahead and make 2 double crochets. So in that stitch that you just made, go ahead and make 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. You're going to skip 2 stitches, which are going to be the double crochets from the previous row, and you're going to make a single crochet and 2 double crochets into the next stitch, which is a single crochet from your previous row. So whenever you see the cluster of the little stitch, you're going to skip the 2 double crochet stitches and always work into the single crochet stitches. So skip the next 2, 1 and 2, and in the stitch after that, make a single crochet and 2 double crochets. Skip the next 2 stitches, and in the stitch after that, make a single crochet and 2 double crochets all into that same stitch. you're going to continue making the single crochet and 2 double crochets in that stitch all the way across. We have one more repeat to go, so skip the next 2, and in the stitch after that you're going to make a single crochet and 2 double crochets. Repeat that across until you have 3 stitches remaining. You're going to skip the next 2, 1 and 2, and in the top of that chain space, which is the stitch that you marked, you're going to go ahead and make 1 single crochet. And as you make more rows, go ahead and move your stitch marker up so you always know what the first and last stitch of each row is. For the one side, that top of the chain 2 is going to count as your first single crochet, so insert your stitch marker into the top of that chain 2, and then for the other side you're going to end with a single crochet, so you're going to put your stitch marker into that stitch. And as you notice, the more rows you make, your stitches are going to offset a little bit, so you have your first row right here, and then your second row is going to be off to the side a little bit, and it just creates a wonderful and beautiful texture for this blanket. So for the remainder of the pattern, you're just going to go ahead and repeat row 2, and I'm going to show you this one more time, and then we can go ahead and change colors. For my blanket, I change colors every 10 rows. So I started off with the dark blue color, and then I went on to the lighter blue color, and then I went on to the cream and back to the dark blue color. So for row 3, you're going to go ahead and chain 2. That chain 2 is going to count as your first single crochet. So insert your stitch marker into the top of that chain 2. In that same very first stitch, you're going to make 2 double crochets. Skip the next 2 stitches, and in the stitch after that, make a single crochet and 2 double crochets. Skip the next 2 stitches, and then stitch after that, make 1 single crochet and 2 double crochets. Skip the next 2 stitches, and in the stitch after that, make a single crochet and 2 double crochets. Repeat that all the way down until you have 3 stitches remaining. You're going to skip 2 stitches and into that next stitch, which this happens to be the top of your chain 2. Go ahead and make a single crochet. So again, that's what your work is going to start to look like. If you wanted to change colors for this blanket, again, I use the light blue color or the sky blue color. So for that last single crochet, I'm just going to undo it, and I'm going to start off by making a single crochet, and I'm going to stop right here. So instead of yarning over and finishing the stitch with that same color, you're going to go ahead and cut your yarn, and you're going to leave a few inches for a tail, so you can weave that in later. So go ahead and cut that yarn off and leave a little bit of a tail with your new color. Lay the new color over your crochet hook and pull through with that new color. And then I just pull this down a little bit, and then you can go ahead and chain 2 and turn, and then you can go right ahead and repeat the pattern which again is 2 double crochets in that very first stitch. Skip the next 2 stitches, make a single crochet and 2 double crochets into that next stitch. Okay, so go ahead and repeat row 2 over and over again for the pattern. Again, I change colors every 10 rows, so I will go ahead and let you know how many rows in total that I have, and then I will go and show you how to make the border. Okay, so I made another row of the blanket stitch, and for my baby blanket, I started and ended my blanket using that dark blue color, and I ended up making 100 rows. So again, I did 10 rows of each color for a total of 100 rows. And then after that, you can go ahead and make the border. So I used the same color as the first and last section of my blanket, which is that dark blue. I'm just going to show you with this lighter blue color as it's a little bit easier to see on camera. So once you end your 100th row, go ahead and chain 1 and turn. In that very first stitch, which is going to be your corner, go ahead and make 2 single crochets. And then in each stitch across, go ahead and make 1 single crochet. This is just a very simple border that I use for a lot of my blankets. I really just like the finished look that the single crochet border gives. If you would like to make another border, you can certainly do that as well. I just really like the look of the single crochet. So make 1 single crochet in each of the stitches across. And then when you get to the very end, we're going to begin our next corner. Okay, so we have that chain 2, and the top of that chain 2 is going to be your corner. So in the corner space, go ahead and make 3 single crochets. Okay, so you're going to turn your work, and you're now going to be working down the side of your blanket, and you're going to make 1 single crochet evenly all the way down. And I usually like to go in those chain stitches. And it doesn't have to be exact. You can just kind of eyeball it and make it as even as possible without adding too many single crochets and skipping too many stitches, so that way it kind of tightens up a little bit. So just do your best and go as slow as possible just to make sure that your stitches are as even as they can be. And you're going to do that all the way down the side of your blanket. When you reach that next corner, you're going to go ahead and make 3 single crochets into that corner space. And then next we're going to be working along the bottom of our blanket. So the bottom might be a little bit tricky. So you're going to have 1 chain where you worked your stitches, and then you're going to have 2 skipped chains. So in the bottom of that chain where you have your stitches, you're going to put 1 single crochet. In this space here where you have the 2 skipped chains, you're going to work 2 single crochets. And I'm just going to go right into that space. If you prefer to go into the chain spaces, you can do that. But I'm just going to go in the spaces and make 2 single crochets. And then in that next chain, you're going to have your stitches. So 1 single crochet. In the next space, you're going to have 2 skip stitches, make 2 single crochets. And then you're just going to repeat that across the entire bottom of your blanket. Okay, so when you get to the end of your row, you're going to have that very first chain that you made, and you're going to go ahead and make 3 single crochets all into that same chain space for your corner stitch. Okay, and finally you have your last side. So much like the other side, just go slow and make 1 single crochet evenly across the side of your blanket. Okay, so when you get to that corner, we started off by making 2 single crochets into that corner space. To finish, you're going to make 1 single crochet, and then you're going to find that very first single crochet made, and you're going to go ahead and slip stitch. And that is what your blanket looks like. So then you're going to just go ahead and cut your yarn and weave in all those ends. So let me show you the blanket one more time. Okay, so here's what my blanket looks like. And again, I used the 3 different colors, and I made 10 rows with each color. And I really liked this stitch because it's very similar to the stitch that I had in the previous video, which is the sedge stitch. The only difference with the blanket stitch is that you're making your clusters with a single crochet and 2 double crochets, where the sedge stitch is a single, half double, and double crochet. Both are very pretty stitches, and I enjoy working with both stitches as well, and they both give the same similar effect with the stitches or the texture. So this is the Beluga color, this is that sky blue color, and finally that cream or that marshmallow color. And then when you make the border, this is what your border is going to look like as well. So thank you so much for joining me today on learning how to make the blanket stitch baby blanket. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. Please like, comment, and subscribe to see all future videos by me. And as always, happy crocheting! Bye!